Hi everyone. Um, Thank you for coming for this today's session. So before we start, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening wherever you may be, and thank you so much for coming to this online event, Dev Speak. Due to the unprecedented times, I hope everyone and your family is safe and well. So Dev Speak is a quarterly virtual event series created for the developers and tech enthusiasts from APAC, and for today's theme is everything.net. So today, I'll be your host. I'm Mary Angela Sorboles, and then I'm application analyst and Microsoft MVP in business application here in Singapore. And fun fact about me, please call me Ange. So before we start, let me do the housekeeping first. Please abide the code of conduct of this event for us to have a fun and exciting sessions and also to have a welcoming and safe environment. So please be kind to one another. And also, you can type in your questions in the chat window at the right side of your screen. And we encourage you to also tweet your learnings and fun times with the use of the hashtag DevSpeak. And everything is done. So, without any further ado, please welcome our keynote speaker for today. So, our keynote speaker is Aaron Powell. He is the principal cloud advocate here in Microsoft, and he's going to talk about 5 key highlights of .NET 5. So, fun fact about him, he implemented his own number system in C sharp, so which is awesome. So, please welcome Aaron Powell. So, I'll give you to the floor, Aaron.
Hey everyone, thanks for having me on today. It's my pleasure to be here to talk about .NET 5 and 5 key highlights that I think are really important to take away from .NET 5. Now, who am I? As was said, I work for Microsoft. I'm in the Cloud Advocates team. I've been a web developer for about 15 years now, which means that I've seen probably a lot of things in my time. I first started using .NET back in .NET 1.1. Before that, it was things like VB Script for the web or VB6 for desktop applications. And so I've had a lot of experience, particularly in the .NET space. For me, .NET 5 was a really exciting launch. Having been in the ecosystem in the industry for so long, I kind of relate it back to when .NET 3.5 first launched and a bunch of new and exciting things. And there was so much stuff that came out with that launch. It was hard to catch up with what there was. And I feel very much the same with .NET 5. If you want to connect with me, there's various amounts of social media and online presence that you can find me. And I'm always happy to answer questions if you've got any after the session. But that's enough about me. You're actually here to learn about .NET 5 and 5 things that I took away from .NET Conf. Now, the reason that I wanted to do this talk as kind of like just the 5 key takeaways is that there was so much stuff there. It was a 3-day event. There was so much things announced at .NET Conf that it's really hard to distill down to just what was the most important things, or at least what I took away as the most important things. And for me, I reckon the number one is platform unification. So when .NET Core first came out, it was essentially a new take on the way that .NET worked. We still had .NET Framework. It was .NET Framework 4, and there was an evolution of that continuing on. There was more features added to it, but .NET 4 had a lot of history and a lot of, I don't want to say legacy because that diminishes the value of the applications that are built on it, but a lot of older approaches to the way we build applications. Now, if we think when .NET first came out, the ecosystem that we have on the web, the way that we're building web applications, the way we build desktop applications had fundamentally changed. So .NET Core really tried to tackle that head on. But it meant we had this fragmentation. And now we're making a choice. Are we building a .NET Core application or are we building a .NET Framework application? One of them ships with Windows, one of them ships out of band. One of them is very tied to Visual Studio and Windows development. One of them is cross-platform. And it actually made a lot of challenges for people to determine which was going to be the right one for them. .NET Core didn't have all the features that .NET Framework had. So .NET 5 is the first step to bringing that all back together. So things like the Windows development and like Windows application development, a lot of that is now very much doable on .NET 5 rather than having to use the .NET framework. Additionally, things like the Mono platform, which was the original way of doing cross-platform .NET development, has been rolled into the .NET framework to make it easier for people to build cross-platform .NET applications and be able to do things like Blazor applications in WebAssembly. Now, I don't think most people realize, but Blazor WebAssembly actually ran on Mono, which meant that it was running on a slightly different runtime to the rest of the .NET application. So if you're building a Blazor server application and ported it to WebAssembly, well, they weren't necessarily the same. Now, you can also do operating system specific targeting with .NET 5. So if you want to build something that is only ever going to run on Windows, it's not cross-platform, so more akin to that .NET framework style approach, you can do that using the target framework modifier and putting an OS flag on that. Now, we also simplified the target framework moniker, or the TFM, to just being .NET, or just .NET 5, or Net 5, sorry. Whereas we had Net Standard, Net Core App, and a whole bunch of other stuff prior to that. So I think that will make it a lot easier for people to make decisions about how they build future .NET applications. We'll see more of this as .NET 6 comes along. Next is single file applications. Now, I do a bit of JavaScript development and a bit of Node.js and things like that, and it's really nice that you can just kind of create a JavaScript file and then you just write some code in it and tell Node to run it. You don't have what we have in .NET, which is a program with a function inside of that, which is the main, and it's got arguments passed to it, and like all this sort of boilerplate stuff. If you're wanting to write, just maybe a short script file or something like that to just bootstrap an application, well, we can do that with the way that we can build a .NET application with .NET 5. We can also then compile these down into a single binary. Now we could kind of do that with .NET 3 and 3.1 in particular, that we could compile that down to these sort of single binaries, but it was actually more of a package. So it would be expanded onto the host operating system, and then you'd end up with the 100 files that was actually building up your application. Now with a .NET 5 application, it is actually just a single binary, which means that you can ship a single binary much more like you would ship a binary for like a Linux application or like a non-Windows environment. Now, where does this become really valuable, and where can I see this playing out as a very important thing? Well, if we're building a containerized application, you're putting something into a Docker container that you want to deploy as raw Docker or through Kubernetes or something like that, and you really want to optimize the way that container is designed. We can pull down the .NET Framework runtime containers, and we can spin those up, but they are kind of, well, they're potentially bloated for some scenarios. So giving you the ability to deploy something that is so self-contained in just a single binary means that you can really strip back what's available with inside of that base image that you're working from and make it more optimized for certain scenarios. Also, if you're building an application for IoT, well, now we can ship just a single binary to that without having to worry about, in like a whole bunch of additional things that are available there. Now, there is a downside to these single file applications. They are going to be naturally larger than applications that are designed to run with a deployed version of the .NET framework, or sorry, the .NET runtime. I keep saying .NET framework, which is going to be really confusing because .NET framework means one thing, but we're talking about the framework to run .NET applications, which is more of the runtime, and naming things is hard, isn't it? So the .NET runtime, if you've got that deployed onto a machine, like it's in a Docker container or it's on your machine, an application you build is going to be smaller because it doesn't need to pack all of that, whereas a single file application will need to pack all of that in. So it is going to be a larger initial download to start with. Speaking of like download sizes and things like that, performance was something that was really key in the work done for .NET 5. Naturally, every evolution of the runtime has improved performance, but .NET 5, they spent a lot of time refining performance and getting it to the level that you would really want from a .NET application running like a really high-speed production application. Now, it's not just people that are building like super performant applications that are going to get some speed benefits with .NET 5. .NET 5 also sees that about a 20% runtime performance increase on just a normal application, that you haven't done anything. You've literally just changed the target framework moniker from like Net 3.1 or like a Net Core app to a Net 5 app. I actually saw a friend of mine tweeted out today an open source project that he contributes to that has hundreds and hundreds of tests and is a very CPU intensive application. They've had the first check-in for starting the work to .NET 5, and all they did was upgrade the framework targeting for it inside of the CS proj files, and they saw a 25% increase in the speed of their test runs, and all they had done was say compile for .NET 5. That's pretty incredible. But if you are building a really highly performant application and you are targeting that kind of really performance sensitive approach to building an application, you can see up to the benchmarks are saying up to about 100% performance increase that you would get on an application that's built for like the .NET 3.1 runtime, the .NET Core 3.1 runtime, or the .NET Framework 4.7 or 4.8. So that's pretty impressive. Like if you're building big production systems, then you are already optimizing for performance. The amount of performance gains you can get is pretty astonishing. And the way they've done this is really simplifying the amount of code that's generated for the runtime. Things like simplifying the amount of code that the constructor has to run, the way generics are handled, the amount of memory allocations that are happening for string operations. Reducing the number of things that happen there means that everyone gets benefits, not just people that are optimizing for performance. Oops, going backwards in my slides instead of forwards. If I click the, where's the correct direction? How do I even clicker? The next thing, I think a lot of people possibly missed this from the announcements, but ARM64 and IoT are now supported out of the box with .NET 5. Now, .NET, like previous versions, did actually support ARM64, but it was done in an emulation mode, an emulation in x86, which meant that you weren't getting the full benefits of being in an ARM64 environment. Now, why is that really important? Well, a certain fruit-shaped company has decided that the next chipset that they're doing for all of their devices is going to be ARM. So with Apple moving all of their hardware to running on ARM instead of on Intel and like x86 architecture or x64 architectures, they're able to get a bunch of performance benefits, and battery life optimizations and things like that through the claims they've put out so far. But with the .NET framework already targeting ARM64, it means that if you are wanting to pick up one of those devices and that's what you want to use from a development standpoint, well, .NET's just going to work. It also means that for IoT devices, if you're building for IoT devices that are supporting the ARM chipset and they're supporting an ARM64 chipset, well, now you're able to do that just, again, natively out of the box without any cross compilations or downscaling compilations. You can take full advantage of the chipset that's available. Now, I do a bit of IoT dabbling, so this for me, I think is really exciting, and I think it's a thing that a lot of people possibly missed from the announcements. And the last, assuming that my maths is correct and I have hit 4 previous slides, the last is kind of a cheat. This is a combination of 2 things that were announced as part of .NET 5, but it's the C# 9 and the F# 5 language launches. So they've been out in preview for a while and people have been able to play around and test with them, but now they're supported, they're targeting .NET 5 and they're the default language versions out of the box. Now, I'm a bit of an F# person myself, so I was really excited by some of the things that are there. Things like string interpolation. So like in C#, we've had string interpolation for a while. We now have that in F#, and it works very much the same as we do with the C# string interpolation. If you're using script files for doing F# scripting, we can do NuGet references. We can just import, say that I want a file to come from NuGet, or sorry, a package to come from NuGet, rather than having to have that come from a local source or like download that file, unpack the NuGet package, and then reference the DLL manually. We can just say #r to include, and then NuGet, and then the package from NuGet and the package version if we want to be specific. And we also get a name of operator. Again, this is something that's been in C# for a version or 2 now, but name of just meaning that we can get the name of a member or a local variable or something like that so that we can give maybe better exception messages when they pump out. But most people are probably C# developers, and that's the language that they know and they love. And C# is not to be outdone with by F# with new features that have come out. So C# sees a huge amount of new features, and I don't want to take away anything that someone might be talking about for the rest of DevSpeak today. Instead, I wanted to talk about just a couple of those. One of them is source generators. Source generators are, it's kind of a tricky feature to truly describe, but the idea behind it is that it gives you a way to generate C# code while the compiler is running to add to what is going to be compiled out. So it can take some input from your application while it's being compiled and generate more code for you. It can't change existing code, but it can add more stuff. It's similar to, I guess, if anyone's used T4 templates or code generations like that in Visual Studio, it's this, but a lot more powerful, leveraging the Roslyn engine as it's actually executing. I have a friend down here in Melbourne that has done a lot of talks about code generators, and about source generators specifically. And if anyone's interested, happy to share the links to his previous talks. Other things, if you're using pattern matching through switch expressions, if statements and things like that, there's a bunch of new pattern matches. I saw that Dave Fowler, who is a member of the ASP.NET team, wrote a really over-the-top complex pattern match for something the other day that was, I was like, I would hope that someone doesn't check that into production code, but you can definitely get really expressive in the way that you want to match patterns and subtypes and sub-members of the thing that you're trying to test against. As someone who's does a lot of F#, I'm really excited to see records supported in the box in C#5. Sorry, C#9, not C#5. Oh, C#5 was a long time ago. C#9 supports records. These are like really lightweight, immutable data structures, and that makes it so much easier to create like data objects that are coming back and forth from like an entity framework when we're talking to our database, or sent over the wire as JSON payloads and things like that. So there's a lot of options there that you can do with record types. And finally, inferred new is something that I didn't realize until I was digging through some of the release notes of C#9 and realized that it was there. So if you're someone that prefers to do the type qualification on the left-hand side, so int x equals and then the number, rather than using var to just get the compiler to determine the type, if you're constructing a new object, you no longer need to do new with the type of the object. So we can just do, if we're constructing a new class, we can just say class name, variable name equals new with the parentheses. Anyway, we've just hit the time that I have allocated for me today. And that was a quick look at 5 key things that I think you should learn about from the .NET 5 announcements of last week. If you want to go back and read the full announcement list, here's the link to the blog post, and obviously a QR code so you can scan that. You don't have to furiously type it out from the slide deck, because I know that it's not clickable. I'll also tweet this out on the DevSpeak hashtag if anyone just wants to grab the click through from there. But thanks again for having me to do a quick talk about .NET 5. I'm excited to see what else we have for the rest of the event today. And if there's any questions, please do reach out on Twitter or email or anything like that, and I'm happy to do my best to answer them.
Hey, thank you, Aaron, for sharing. Oh, by the way, there's 2 questions in the chat window, if that's okay. You can answer it. So the first question is, what's the size of a Hello World.NET 5 single file app?
That's a good question. I actually don't know what the size is. I haven't actually done that Hello World application, but if you think about the size of the .NET runtime, it's going to contain kind of that, most of that .NET runtime will be in there. So we're talking kind of tens of megabytes at the very minimum. Probably around, I would guess around probably about 50 megabytes. I know there's some optimizations that they do to try and remove things that you don't use. So if you're not building a Windows application, it'll try and remove like WinForms and things like that. But yeah, it's not going to be anywhere near as small as the sort of thing that you would get from having a runtime already deployed on the machine.
Okay, thank you for that. Last question. Is there no .NET Core anymore?
Yes, so that's correct. So .NET. So with .NET 5, well, prior to .NET 5, we had .NET Core, we had Net Standard if we were doing shared class libraries, and then we had .NET Framework. Net Standard was just kind of the way that we could share code between .NET 5 and .NET Core and .NET Framework. Now with .NET 5, essentially they've merged the approaches of the two, so you only have a single runtime. .NET Framework, kind of as it stands, is feature complete. There's nothing being added to it going forward, and they talk about that in the blog post that I referenced, and in the blog post that they've had leading up to the .NET 5 launch. So they're not adding new features to the .NET framework. So .NET 4.8 something I think is the current one. Everything is going into .NET 5. They're also not bringing new features from the .NET framework into .NET, well, what was .NET Core. But there should be pretty much everything that you could do with a .NET Framework application, bar of edge cases, doable on .NET 5. So it's very much encouraged to upgrade to .NET 5 because that's where all the future investment is, and it should also be as feature complete as you should need for most applications.
Okay, thank you for your answers, and also thank you for the questions. Thank you for sharing your insightful keynote for this event. Thank you, Aaron.
I thought we needed to finish with a round of applause. Thank you for having me on, and to everyone watching, enjoy the rest of the event.
Thank you. Okay, so for our next speakers, so we will have two speakers for this session for this upcoming. Um, so we they're going to talk about building distributed cloud native applications with Dapper. We have here. So what we have here is Tang Trong, a Microsoft MVP in Microsoft Azure in Vietnam, as well as Phong Lee, engineering manager and senior solutions architect in Vietnam. So fun fact about hello.
Hello.
So fun fact about the two of them. So Tang Chong, so he start his perfect day with coffee and end his perfect night with beers. Chill,
Yeah.
guys, chill. So cheers to that. And Fang Li is one of his favorite is to do sharing. So sharing is caring indeed. So I'll turn over the floor with you guys.
Yeah. Hello. And yes, thank you for all the people to join to this event with us today. And about me, I'm Tang Chung. I'm working as a senior solution architect from Nasdaq company. And I spend all the day to working on the company coding and design the software. And I spend time for the community in night. That about me.
Hello everyone. I'm Phương. Currently, I'm engineering manager in Nasdaq Vietnam. I'm very happy. I'm staying here and share the something to all of you. Yeah. Hello everyone.
Yeah. Okay. And today we're gonna sharing about how can we build a distributed application using the Dapper, the new open source from Microsoft and the community. Yes. What is Dapper? And actually stand for the distributed application runtime. And the first of all, we talk about what the problem and how hard to develop the distributed application nowadays. The first thing, the resiliency is really hard, and how can we prevent the application to talk with another the event, and how can we prevent the failure, and how can we retry when one service is going down. And the second thing is scalability. It's really hard for the cloud environment as well, because at the moment on the cloud they want to scale out, not scale up like we develop the application on the on-prem.
Yep. And beside that, when we work on the distributed application, we need to mix the developer, operator, and IT together. And today, everyone will say about the community, and community is very hard. And beside that, someone also say about the should mesh. And for me, maybe I'm quite confused between the service mesh and the community. And the next one is about the network, about the VNet, about the shipnet. So a lot of things.
Yes. A second part about the application. When you develop the Android application nowadays, a lot of people try to using the event-driven application, and someone else using actor model. And the thing for the Android application is you need to building some of long running process and the sort like function like the Azure function to saving code for the development.
Yep. And when we work in any system, we cannot forget the old application. So another thing is also difficulty. It means how to migrate the old application to the modern application. The reason why because we lack the upload model for intercommunication, for state management, bookship, event, padding, observability, and the last one is security.
Yes. And the third problem is about the runtime. When you develop the entire application, you have a lot of client etiquette. So that means if you using with the Twilio, you need the client for the Twilio. And when you develop with the, for example, with the Azure Service Bus, you need to have the etiquette to communication with the Azure Service Bus as well. And the second policy is it stick to the one specific programming language. If you use the C# and you need to stick with the .NET forever,
Yeah.
or maybe, and it's really hard for develop the distributed application.
Yeah, and as one developer, maybe I don't need to focus on about the deployment about the hosting. Yeah, like I need to deploy on local environment or Docker or with Docker and community or on any cloud. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Now Dapper comes in.
Yep.
It will promise you can develop the application with very easy, portable, event-driven, and you can change the runtime component. Maybe you can use the RabbitMQ for the message, Rocker, and in the production environment, maybe you can switch to Azure Event Bus or the Kafka, anything you want.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah, and you can go to the, if you know interesting in it, you can go to the website dapper.io to see the full information about Dapper.
Yeah.
The next one we talk about the Dapper Go, because the first slide we talk about the problem, the issue, and anything that prevent us to develop a distributed application. And now we talk about what Dapper can bring to us, the benefits and something really fun. The first one is the best practice for the building block, something like Phương just said about the state management, pop shop, and anything about the binding. Dapper will bring up with all the best practice they have.
Yeah, and beside that, with Dapper we can work, we can develop your service, your application with any language, any framework. Yeah, it means we in your team we can combine C# developer and Java or not yet developer and build the one ecosystem.
Yes, and the next thing about the community.
Yeah.
Actually, it's not come from the Microsoft or any organization. It will allow the community to contribute idea. And if we didn't have anything that we want to develop the entire application, we can discussion and put a request if we want.
Yeah, and with Dapper also support a lot of standard industry software like gRPC or OpenTelemetry and REST.
Right?
Yeah.
Very popular.
Yep.
And the next one, because it builds on the PaaS model, so that means if have itself the open API, so you can interact with that open API using REST API really easy.
Yeah. And the next thing is very interesting. It means with Dapper we can deploy your system. Maybe we can say anywhere. It means on premise or on cloud and some edge cloud service. Yeah.
Yes, and the final point is about the flexible components. So that means you can switch to any environment, like you use the RabbitMQ, or you can use Kafka, or you can use Redis stream or anything.
Yeah, without programming.
Yeah, without programming, you just declarative the YAML file and apply to the Kubernetes.
Yeah, awesome.
And the next one, we talk a little bit about some of the building block we just work through, because something we just talk a little bit about the service to service invocation, the state management, pop stuff,
Yeah.
the resource binding trigger and actor model, distributed tracing and something like that. All of it is just for the API.
Yeah. So I have one question for you. So for your application, for your service, do we need to include the double runtime?
No, not really, because you can split it and deploy on the runtimes. We don't need to have the dapper run on the application.
So how can we do it?
Yes, we can talk about the sidecar model.
Okay.
Yes, and this is a sidecar model. Is a dapper using the sidecar library that sits the next to your application code, and it will collect all the information and take care of all the thing about the service, code to service, state management, pops up or binding for all of you.
Yeah. Okay, so you just say about the sidecar, and on this diagram you can see we have two applications. One is product catalog application, and another is shopping cart application.
Yeah.
And for each application, we also have one sidecar, one sidecar double for that application. And this this sidecar will take the responsibility to communicate when the civic A calls the civic B. Yep. And beside that, we have the sidecar. So the sidecar will collect the information about the chasing, about the login, and about the message. And after that, the sidecar will push that information into one centralized like Gitkin or Kubernetes and Elasticsearch, and we can use some application like Kubernetes for visualize.
Yes, and you can see on the bottom we have a state store, the public and supply, and on the top we have a resource binding. Yeah. And all of it we can write in the YAML file, and we will apply it into the Kubernetes. We will have a demo in next couple of slides.
Okay. So now we talk about the Docker and the community. So Thắng, can you share a little bit about somewhat?
Yes, Docker will act like it have a control plan. The control plan will have some of very basic and main component. You can see on the top, we have the operator, we have a sentry, we have the sidecar injector and actor flament. The first of all, when you have one component on the YAML files, you can deploy it, and the Dapper operator will read that component and register to the Dapper control plan. And the second thing about the Dapper Sentry, it will take care is all the encryption the data in the communication. I mean the intercommunication between the service to service. And the third component is the sidecar injector. When you deploy to the Kubernetes, you have a Helm chart, and you need some attribute inside the Helm chart, like the Dapper track, the injector for the that application code, and you have the for the tracing the error or the something for the app application, app configuration, and the sidecar injector will read those information and register it into the dataset as well. And the actor payment for the actor model if you development the application using actor. And yes.
And for your application, so you can see here when you deploy your application in the community, so we have one port, and in that port we have the container for application, and we also have the double sidecar beside your container. And this container will be injected by double runtime.
Okay. Everything you talk, it just happened on the runtime.
Okay. And what is interesting here is you can deploy on any cloud or edge infrastructure.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. The next one is we talk about the demo now. We talk a little bit about how can we write the component YAML files.
Okay.
And the first one, boom, could you share a little bit about how can we deploy this file?
Yeah. So this is the shortcut. Yeah, and in the component folder, you can see we have two files. One file declare about the bookship and one file declare about the stay. And in the bookship, we have some important information like about the name and the namespace. This means we will deploy that component to default namespace.
So the first one, you need to have the Kubernetes running, right?
Exactly, exactly. And I will show you the list later.
Yeah.
And beside that, we will declare about the type of the component. Yeah, and we will we can, like you said before, we can configure about the storage. It means Redis or Commons will be here.
Yeah.
And for each storage, we need to declare about the metadata like connection string and password.
Yes, sure.
Okay, it will be similar for the style.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we need when you develop the distributed application using Dapper, you need to have the application code, right?
Yes.
And then you need to package it up into the Docker file.
Yep. Here. So because now when we say maybe everything is Docker, yeah. So actually everything is container. So we need to have one Docker file to package your service. It's be similar like that.
Yeah.
And
then we need to have a ham check, right?
Yeah,
because
sure.
you need to let the Kubernetes know about what your configuration.
Yep, sure. So now in the check folder, we have many folder. Each folder will belong to one service, like Cell API, and this is the standard ham check. But we need to remind one thing. It's about the
annotation.
Annotation. So double ingester will based on that information and insert your sidecar, double sidecar to your application.
And now go back to the demo today about this slide. We have the we have the website here, so everybody can access to this public domain to access the website, the cool store website for the demo. Is already running on Kubernetes with the Dapper. You have a shortcut on the bottom. If anyone wants to access to see how can we build this application, you feel free to access to this.
Yeah.
And now go next to the next slide. And we have the application here running with the Kubernetes and the Dapper already running on the AKS. And we have several services over here. And the thing is, we need to inject the Dapper sidecar into every service we have. And then we have the communication between of them. Now, Phương, we have the demo on the Azure portal and how can we tracing and we observability this application.
Okay, so this is the Azure portal. And can you see we have one Kubernetes cluster with this name, and for this cluster we have 3 nodes. Yeah, and for now we will go to the workflow to see. Okay, so now you can see we have the double system namespace, and in this namespace we have some popular double port like dashboard or operator.
Okay.
And for our application, we deploy in default namespace. Yeah, this one. This one, and we also deploy about the monitoring in data.
Okay, and now go to the website. We have where is it?
Okay, so now in the website, I will log on to this URL,
domain.
This domain, and at the first step, we need to log in
with some of the user, and then we go back to the application, and then we just push some of the action over here.
Yeah, we will filter.
Now you can go to the Kibana.
Yeah, we will go to the Kibana. Yeah.
Yes. And every block is just centralized into one place. And because of the time is too short, so we would like to wrap up everything we did over here.
Yeah.
With the Dapper, it will simplify our development, and we just not focus on what the stuff of the networking. Everything is just focused on the application model, and now the developer can focus on how can they implement the application codes on not only another thing. And Who can you go back
Yeah.
to the slide? And if anyone to want to, oh no, yeah. So it's if anyone to want to learn more about the Dapper, please feel free to the github.com Dapper and community. A lot of people talk about the Dapper, and we would like you to try it as well. And thank you for coming and see this session.
Yeah. Thank you.
Mm, thank you so much for sharing. Oh, by the way, I have two questions for you
Oh,
to answer.
I can.
Okay, so one question is, how did you get into Dapper?
Oh man, I can hear.
How can you hear me?
Oh, so
Can you hear me? Oh, hello. Okay.
oh, okay.
Can you?
Yeah, yeah. Actually, about the question, how did you get into Dapper, right?
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, the first of all, you need to have the Dapper CLI. So you go to the github.com and /Dapper /CLI, and then you can install the Dapper CLI over there, because the Dapper running on a drop platform. So that means you can run on the Windows, on the Mac, or the Linux, any platform you can run. And then the second thing you need to do is you need to tie the Dapper and init, and that's it for get stuck to the Dapper.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for that. Another question. So, how to choose from Adapt K8s? Don't know if I pronounce it correctly. K8s or containers generally.
I'm not quite sure I can got this answer correctly. Um, but
I'm sorry. Your question. How can we deploy Dapper on Kubernetes?
How to choose from Adapt, Kubernetes, or containers generally.
how to do from Dapper.
From Adapt, Kubernetes, or containers generally. Yeah. Oh, from Dapper, Kubernetes, or containers generally.
From Dapper. Oh,
So,
oh,
yeah, how to
okay.
choose?
Okay, okay, yeah, got it. Yes, actually, it's not about you choose the Dapper or the KS, because the Dapper run on top of KS. So that means if you have the application with the KS, and you can consider to using Dapper on the tops of KS to simplify your some of the development for the pub shop, for the state management, and all the stuff.
And another thing, because for Dapper, we can deploy with cell host or with the container. So it's up to your design.
Yeah.
So you can choose the best option.
Yeah, and another thing, you can only run it on the environment, on your local environment. So that means you can run on some of the IoT devices, not only on the KAS.
Okay. Any more questions? I think that's all for now. Thank you
Uh,
so much for your sharing.
okay, thank you very much, and hope all of you enjoy about this session.
Yeah.
And bye bye, and see you next time.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Okay. Thanks for our two speakers. So our next speaker is Samira Talibi. She is a full stack .NET developer with over 7 years of experience in software development, specialized in front end and back end and .NET framework. So she worked in the full software development lifecycle, including analysis, design, development, testing, deployment, and documentation of in-tier applications. So, fun fact about her: she loves cooking and crazy about working from home. So today, she's going to share us about WebAssembly Blazor. So I'll give the mic to Samira now. Apologize for that one because we are encountering a difficult a technical glitch as of this moment. So let's just wait for a while. So you can do water break first or toilet break. And also, after all the sessions before the panel, we will have a Kahoot play game. So please wait for a while. I'm really sorry for that one. There's still a technical glitches about this one. So, but you can hear me, guys, right? I'm really sorry. Let's just wait for. Okay. Apologize for that one. So we are going to move on for to our next speaker. So is our next speaker is a student ambassador in Department of Computer Science in Sokyong University, and she is Eugene Kim. So she's going to talk about .NET frameworks for blockchain technology. So fun fact about her, she is a speaking zombie who suffered from her client and professors. So guys, if there will be a Train to Busan Part 3, you know who is the main character. So please welcome Eugene Kim.
Uh, Hello, everyone. My name is Yujin Kim, studying computer science at Seogyung University in Korea. I completed the course named Best of Best on the Korean Information Technology Research Institute and regularly participate in several hackathons. I'm very interested in making cool application and web service. Blockchain has been one of my interests for several years, and today I'm going to tell you about how the .NET framework has been used in blockchain and what's the advantage of using the .NET framework in blockchain. Before I start, for someone who are not familiar with blockchain and cryptocurrency, I briefly explain about it. What is blockchain? The blockchain combines the result of hashing operations, starting with the genesis block in the form of the chain. The block header contains the parent block hash, which finds the next block hashing value, with the block headers containing the transitories and parent block. Therefore, we can ensure the integrity of transactions as the hash result become different, though there exist minor changes. Moreover, this work is done by numerous nodes, not by centralized institutions, so that the entire process can be decentralized. Blockchain has some advantages as shown in this slide. For a small personal project, only HTTPS, salt, and hash value could provide sufficient security. However, the service utilizing data like financial and medical records keep their eyes on the benefit of blockchain technology as their data should not be counterfeited. For instance, various companies such as Mediblock are trying to adopt blockchain to enjoy these numerous benefits. If you think blockchain only has benefits, you're wrong. It also has three inevitable dilemmas. We call those trilemma of blockchain, meaning it can catch all three rabbits. Decentralization, security, and scalability. If you choose the other two, problem arise for the last. For instance, if you choose decentralization and security like Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Decred, scalability problems arise. Altcoins were born to tackle down the scalability problems of Bitcoin. More than 7,000 altcoins were created, and the size of blockchain cryptocurrency market grew 400 times from the $1 billion to $400 billion. Surprisingly, some experts predict it will grow more. As you know, various companies providing service with blockchain and cryptocurrency are now emerging. However, still, users and developers are yet familiar with blockchain due to its ambiguous concepts and unfriendly explanation. Let's see the process of running the Ethereum notice as an example. As you need to generate configuration files and type in other commands manually, it is a very bothersome, tired, and even annoying process. Now, BaaS. Blockchain as a service emerges. Cloud platforms such as Azure and AWS provide BaaS using various blockchains. Rather than going through all the manual setup process with BaaS, we can deploy full node in one click. Now, let's focus on Azure. As shown in this figure, at a glance, Microsoft Azure provides more selection than its competitor. It is my opinion, though, the strength of Azure in BaaS market is because of the utilization of the .NET framework, which is widely spread among developers. What I want to focus on today is the strategies developed in C#. One of the biggest advantages of .NET is if the language complies with CRS, Common Language Specification, it will be executed on the Common Language runtime. The code of the Bitcoin developed in C++, but solves scalability issues strategies ported into C#. Though the consensus was written in C++ due to the speed issues, the other part of the strategies was written in C#, making the entire development process super fast. Benefit of using C# for blockchain development is low cost. Back in 2017, various altcoins tried for initial coin offering, also known as ICO, so it requires marketing, including but not limited to make a website and other process to check the code is comply with certain specification. From a few thousand to hundred of thousands of dollars, Developing an ICO token takes an enormous amount of budget. However, using the .NET framework, Stratis successfully went through the ICO process very fast with a low budget. Moreover, C# helps developers to build a stable blockchain. Compared to Solidity, developers have little or most no additional stuff to learn before start writing blockchain codes. They are more familiar with C#, already know how to write codes in C#, and more importantly, they know what to consider. However, using the new language, developer might make mistakes and leave vulnerability, which later turns out to be cause of financial catastrophe. Like Stratis Neo can also be built in C#. As you can see in this figure, you can easily develop a blockchain through the Visual Studio. In this way, the .NET framework play a big role in the BaaS market. As you can see on the left, Neo and Stratis are ranked 22nd and 139 in market cap among more than 7,000 coins. Moreover, in Ethereum, you can code smart contract without learning a new language like Solidity or Viper. The reason we need to this is importance of the fast launching of service in blockchain market. Due to the network effect, the person who preempt the service ahead gain tremendous benefits. As you can see, the BaaS market is expected to grow to about $25 billion by 2027. The BaaS and blockchain market will consistently grow, and the .NET framework will consistently be loved by developers. Thanks for today, and thanks for listening. If you have any question, it will be great to get those right away. However, due to language difficulties and time limitation, I prefer to get those to my mail and or based on Messenger. You can find my Facebook account via QR codes. I hope you stay safe. Goodbye.
Thank you so much, Eugene, for insightful sharing. So there is a comment in your session. So Bass is amazing and now covered by serverless, which is time's up. Uh, so everyone, if you have any questions with Eugene, where they could connect with, are you in Twitter, Wiki, and Facebook? So any more questions, guys? Okay, so I think no more questions for now. Thank you so much, Eugene. Bye. Okay, so next is we're going to try to call back Samira for his talk. So let's try to share it again. So please, we're going to start Samira again. Okay, I think there are some still technical glitches. Apologize for that one. So the next is we're going to have a tea break. I'm just kidding. Our toilet break for a moment before we start our next sessions. Okay, so I think we're going to after the sessions, not really all the sessions, but after the sessions we will have to play a game about Kahoot. So is anyone of you familiar with Kahoot? Raise your hand. So we will play that, and then we are going to flash the questions from the speakers, and please. So the reward is a virtual hack for you guys. Okay, so now we are going to go to our next speaker. So our next speaker is fun fact about him. He's an IT guy that waiting to sink in the IT ocean after 31 years of floating. So hanging in there, buddy. But okay. So Chan Ming Man is a developer, technologist, and Microsoft MVP and solution architect in Malaysia. He's going to talk about building single page application with C# and SQL Azure in 5 steps. So I'll give you the float. Oh, I mean floor, Ming Man.
Okay. I hope, okay, so hi everyone. I hope you all can see my slides. Okay, I'm Ming Man. So what I'm going to talk about is how do you actually create Blazor, but not WebAssembly. I think you have a very good WebAssembly coming, but Blazor actually, if you can see from the screen, right? Blazor app actually having 2 templates. I will show you later on in the demo, right? So when you create a Blazor app, like why you need Blazor? Okay, let me just in case you don't get another session, why you need a Blazor, right? So a Blazor, basically, what I like Blazor about is that I don't need so much of a JavaScript anymore. So I can write the front end, right? The web in the front end using C#, right? I hope you all exciting about that. So you don't really need the Angular. If you love Angular, you probably had me, right? So you don't actually need Angular anymore. So you can use C#, right? So okay. So you can see on the slide, right? So if you only need around 6 steps to do that, right? So another thing that you actually need to do is that after you create, you can see from the screen, right? So if you have created the Blazor app before, you should see a very familiar structure on the screen, right? So let me make it bigger. No, I can't think. Okay, so then you will actually add a service, right? A C# backend, right? Hopefully it's not too small for you, the code. Why I remark this part of it is that I don't use local. I actually going to use the one in Asia, right? Hopefully it's a live application. You have to so the database you can see is very straightforward, right? If you have a Northwind database, right? I think if you play with Microsoft technology 20 years ago, or more than 20 years ago, you should be familiar with a Northwind database. But today the Northwind database is still there, right? So I'm just using one table of the Northwind to play with around and show you, right? And I will take this table from Azure, right? So your Blazor actually connecting to the real Azure cloud and get back the data, right? And so after that, after you add the C# class here, okay? After you add the C# class here, you will need to actually put that into the startup.cs file. Right, I'll show you in the code later on. After that, okay, the last thing you need to do is that you have a Razor page. Now, the Razor page is the UI page, right? So that is all you need to get the data back from wherever, right? But for this demo, I'm actually talking using it Asia, right? I'm actually using Asia. So it's a SQL Asia, it's a SQL from Asia, right? Okay, so I think I will fetch up this slide again for you to recall, right? So yeah, you the only thing you have to remember is that you have two templates, right? One is for you to create WebAssembly. Hopefully the speaker can actually come back later on, okay? So, and to talk about WebAssembly, and another one is the Blazor server. So what you are seeing here is a Blazor server actually. Okay, so let me just go to the demo. Okay, so I believe you can see my screen here. Okay, this is my Microsoft Azure. So you see a database here, right? Let me make it bigger for you to see. Here you have the ones. Okay, so I will basically you can basically see this guy here, right? SSISDB, right? So I will actually come to here and click this guy, right? You can see this is my DB, right? So in here you can see a connection string, okay? And the lucky thing is the password will show you, right? So you will know my password. So basically here, right? You can see this guy, right? This guy is actually your connection string, right? So the whole thing, right? So anyway, so that is so I have a database, right? So you will be asking me that how you see the data. So I'm not using. There are two ways for you to see the data, right? So you can actually use like me, SQL Management Studio, and connect it to your Azure. Right? You can see that my connection is actually to Azure, right? Or you can use Azure Data Studio, two things, right? So these two things is what you can use. Now let me go to the Visual Studio, right? So you can just now, as I told you, when you click the create project, right? It will take a while. Huh? Bear with the slow computer for a while. Hopefully this is okay. So you can actually come here and you can actually type Blazor, right? So I hope you all can see it, right? I hope you all can see it. Okay, so it take a while, right? So let me make it bigger. I think it's a slow internet, right? So you can actually see it, Blazor, right? I type in, and yeah, you're still finding. Okay, when you still finding, never mind, let it find, right? So let me go to the project that I've already created, right? And you also see that from the beginning, the keynote is talking about .NET 5. I'm using .NET 5 for this Blazor. Okay, so this Blazor run on the .NET 5. So you don't have to worry that whether you support .NET 5. I'm actually using .NET 5, right? So as I mentioned, you actually add the code in one of the structure here. Right? I added something called people service. Actually, a product service, I put people service. So I actually put the class here. Right? You can see that I actually put a class here. Right? And then I put down the code. Of course, I won't show you the connection string because with my password there. So the connection string is this one that you're seeing, right? Yeah, but without a password there. So, oops. Okay. So what I have is that so after then is the time for me to actually run some code to you see. So I've actually put in the code here to actually get back the top 5 record from the Azure, okay, SQL Azure. I will run this program right now, right? Hopefully not too slow. Okay, when this guy is start running, let me go back to here, right? Okay, this is coming out already. Sorry to be a bit jumpy. So you will see when you type Blazor here, you see a Blazor app. When you click next, right, and click next again, say you want to create, you can see that you have actually two templates for you to choose, right? One is the Blazor server, another one is the Blazor WebAssembly. So you might want to ask, well, what is the difference between these two guys? You know, you show me this. No, if I can tell you that for me, I don't need pervasive web application, which is you can actually put a web application like a desktop application. If I want to do that, I have to use the Blazor WebAssembly. Right? If I don't need that, I just want it to be hosted in IIS. I can make it simple. I just use the Blazor server app. Okay, so that's also I cross this guy, and you see that my app is actually running, right? So now this is app running. So this is what I actually get back from the Asia. So you can see that I have the same thing running here, right? 20. We can see, right? This is from Asia. Right? You can see if you are familiar with Visual Studio, right? As SQL Studio, you can see that here is actually a Asia SQL, right? Let me just finish this quickly and just to show you that how this app can work, right? So I actually can edit. I say I want to edit this record, right? The first record. I want to put the amount is 18, right? So I just want to update this guy. Okay, let's see what's going on. If I go here and go and get the record back again, you can see now it's 18. So I update the record directly to Asia. It is just like a normal single database. So there's nothing so worried about SQL Asia. It's a good thing to print, right? So that is how the code works, right? Another last thing that I will show you is here, right? So I mentioned that you need to add one line here, right? You need to add one line here. So this is where you need to add this guy here, right? Okay, so I think let me just jump back to the slide. I hope this is only the few steps. That's why you don't need to struggle, right? So if you come back to here, right, you will see that this is all you need to actually get the your Blazor app connect to a database SQL. And where you get your SQL connection string, of course, you can see is the Asia portal now. Asia portal, okay? So, so I guess that is all from me. I'm also time's up 15 minutes already. So, one slide, I only have one slide and all the demo. So hopefully you can get something out of it. So any question for me?
Hi, Mingman. Thanks for sharing. Currently, still waiting the questions to pop up.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. Do you have any questions? No questions? Going once, going twice? Okay,
Please understand what I'm talking about.
Okay. Oh, wait. Let me do. Okay. There's a question. So,
Okay.
how long have you experienced Blazor?
I have actually used it more than half a year. So there's a lot of tricks and tricks. More than half a year. So in actually doing the real project, using Blazor for payment gateway, it's around half a year. But the thing will only be go live in the first quarter next year. Yeah.
Oh.
Yep. It's a real project that is going to use the Blazor for live project. Yes.
Good luck with the project.
Yep.
Okay. I think that's all for everyone. Okay, no more questions. So thank you so much, Mingman, for your questions.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, next is we're going to play. So let me share my screen. Okay, so everyone, please bring out your mobile phones and laptops and everything and open the kahoot.it and type in this number 1835038. And I'm going to wait, you guys. So type in the Kahoot.it in your mobile phones or in your browser, and let's play. So all the questions are came from the speakers, and we are going to test your knowledge. So if you have a correct answer, I'll just give you thumbs up. And if you win as well, I'll just give you a hug, virtual hug. Okay, so okay, one player S. Anyone? Anyone's okay. Next is donate. So you need to donate S. Okay. Next, other player Pikachu. Pikachu. Okay. Next, Kahoot. Ooh, Kahoot. Next, no more other. This is gonna be a fun. No more other players. Okay, let's just start the game. Oh, there's one. Okay, Dev. I'm gonna wait a few more seconds. Okay. Dev Kahoot Pikachu donate S. Huh. Oh, Jason. Another one is Jason. So, how can I build a sentence with this name? Jason Dev Kahoot Pikachu donate S. Jason's Dev Kahoot play Kahoot with Pikachu and then donate it. Okay, that's a good sentence. Okay, no more. Going once, going twice. Okay, let's start to. So all the questions will be sharing the screen and you need to answer in your phone. Okay, so first question. What is the target framework? That's so fast. 20 seconds. Sorry, guys. Okay, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ding, 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 ding. Question is .NET 5.0. So later, I'll show you. I'll show who's the winner. Next question. Oops, it shows already. So S. Okay, next question. So what is the not a C sharp that? Sorry, it's so fast. So you have 20 seconds to answer the questions. So in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. T. So the answer is string interpolation for the question, what is not a C sharp 9 feature? So who will be the leading? So it's Pikachu. I next question. So what does Zapper stand for? It should be .NET Application Runtime, Observability Tool, Distributed Application Runtime, Distributed Acceleration Project. So in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The answer is Distributed Application Runtime. So we have 4, okay. 2 correct answer. 2 persons has answered correctly. And the leading is S. Ooh, S is the highest answer streak. Okay, next question. So which of the following is not an advantage of the blockchain? Oh, decentralization, security, scalability, and inflexibility. So you need to answer in 4. Oh, we have 4 correct player correct answer correctly. So the leading is still S. Okay. How many templates can you have for Blazor project in Visual Studio 2019? So 1, 2, 3, 4. So you need to answer in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Okay, so we have two player who answers correctly. And the leading is, Dev is catching up. Next is, where do you get the connection string for Azure SQL? So Visual Studio, Azure Portal, SQL Server Management Studio, or Notepad. So 4, 3, 2, 1. So we have 5 player who answered correctly. So, Kaho is picking up as well. So we only have two more questions left. So 7 out of 8. So which language was used to develop Stratis? C#, Fortran, Rust, Ada. Ada. Yeah, Ada. Need to answer it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The answer is C#. Yay! So we have, Pikachu is catching up as well. So last question. This is an interesting question. This will be a difficult one. So from the list of all the speakers, which country is not part of the group? Singapore, Vietnam, Malaysia, and Cambodia. You need to answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And everyone got the correct answer. And the winner is Donate. Oh no, sorry. It's 3. Sorry. So the winner is S. As whoever you may be, here's my virtual hug for you. Thank you for coming. Okay. So that's it for the Kahoot time. So let's go back to. Okay, let's go. We're going to try to get back again to Samira. So we'll try to let her share his sessions. Singapore. I hope it will not be. Oh. I'm really sorry, everyone, but Samira has a technical glitches, so we can't share her session. So we're going to share it in the YouTube for now. We're going to share it in YouTube. So now moving on. Okay, let's flip side. We are going to do the panel discussion. So our panel discussion for today is about diversity and inclusion in the community. So this panel discussion will be moderated by Priyanka Shah. She is an AI data science solutions architect, full stack developer, and Microsoft MVP here in Singapore. So, fun fact about her. So, he has a fuzzy mind because even her dreams are binary coded. Oh, no wonder when you sleep, you can answer the questions when you woke up, right? Right. Sometimes you just go somewhere. Okay. So, and the together with her is Samani Palasuria, Manisha Jha, and Thao Tran Timpong. So they are so fun fact about them. I'm going to do the fun fact. So they tackle challenges by a tap of a keyboard, click of a mouse, swipe of a screen, and flick of a finger. So please welcome the moderator and the panelists. Welcome.
Hello.
Hi all. Guys, welcome, ladies, and hi, guys out there who are watching us. Welcome to this very interesting discussion on diversity and inclusion today. So, I have with me today three amazing women who embody the very spirit of technological excellence, and they are themselves the ambassadors and champions of women in technology. Okay, so all super girls, you go. Okay, and today, I would like to introduce them as girls who see sharp, figuratively and metaphorically, and they net the most challenging problems, with their excellence and with their technical skills. And today, I'm very glad to have them on with me on this forum. And so we have Thao Tran, who is a full stack developer and also a tech blogger. We have Sammani Palani Surya, who has had a vast experience of over 12 years. She's a tech architect and also 5 times Azure MVP. And we have Manisha with here also, who is again has a very vast experience in across diverse platforms, and she's also a data architect and a cloud practitioner. So, ladies, welcome. And since our theme is, everything .NET today, I would like to begin with Thao. So, Thao, given that you are always active in the .NET space, so what excites you most about .NET 5?
Oh, yes. Hi, everybody. I'm Thảo. I'm developing a CRM product named Brand. We are currently using .NET for server side and JavaScript for client side. To me, as a full stack .NET developer, I see the future of .NET seem promising. Especially the new release of .NET 5 made me so excited. This is the first release in their .NET unification journey. Their goal is to develop a unified .NET runtime and framework that can be used anywhere. As you know, with the rapid growth of technology, mobile phones becoming more popular, so the demand for mobile application development has also increased. In the past, we need a developer to build an Android app, a developer to build an iOS app, but nowadays, as a cross-platform, Xamarin Test developer can build iOS, Android, and Windows apps with .NET from a single shared code base. So we only need one dev to build Android app and iOS app instead of two. This leads to build app faster and save human cost for companies. Or a web developer, I see Blazor is the best example of .NET unification. I can build an interactive web UI using C# instead of JavaScript. And
Okay.
Both client and server code is written in C#, allowing me to share code and library easier. Microsoft is basically taking the best of each existing .NET platform and transferring it into one place. This means that you will have a single share point of access tools for building both mobile, desktop, and web-based solutions. Well, we can see there are a bunch of changes in .NET 5, and Aaron has shared 5 key highlight with us from the beginning. In summary, as a .NET developer, I'm delighted for the future of .NET and the direction it goes. I no longer need to learn JavaScript for single page application framework because Blazor will do that. I no longer need to learn Python for machine learning because ML.NET will do that. I no longer need to learn Android or Swift because Xamarin will do that. If you know C Sharp, now you can develop an application that can run anywhere from IoT to cloud. Is that
Yep.
cool? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure .NET developers everywhere must be pretty pumped up about the newest releases which .NET has announced. And on that same note, my next question would be to Manisha. So Manisha, with all these, technical updates coming out very frequently, and so you yourself being in this field for so long and very active in the community space as well, how hard do you think it is to keep abreast with all these updates, keeping yourself technically updated all the time, especially as a working mom?
Well, I'm sure, yeah, that's a very good question actually. And am I audible? Am I clear? Yeah,
Yep.
that's a very good question. So you first of all, you need to be sure the field that you are in, you absolutely love it, because that will give you the drive, the firepower, to move from one day to the other. Then you need to be kind to yourself and not overjudge. I especially feel that we ladies, we are very conscientious. We work hard, we are honest, and we deliver. But we are also very harsh on ourselves when something goes even a teeny bit wrong. We need to be kind to ourselves and soldier on. Some developing some good practices day in, day out. Like every day, I spend 1 hour learning something new, and it has nothing to do with my job. It could be something else, need not be tech. Find some time to relax. This is very important because life gets to you. There is home, there are kids, there is office, there is boss, life goes on. And these days, because of the pandemic, you can't even go out and uh, get that oomph, the fresh air feeling. So I paint. That's my go-to, where I just lose myself. It's just the color and me. That's it. You might do something else, cycle, cooking, running, you name it, you have to identify. Then over the years, constantly keep yourself upgrading and see where the trend is. Which
Correct.
technology is gaining, the forefront. So try to get certified. That sends a strong message that you mean business, you know things in and out, you're not just fibbing. And recently, I read a very interesting book that I wanted to share with all of you. It's not just with respect to being, women. It's The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, and it talks about how to listen more and more to your inner voice
Correct.
because it is the guiding principle. That's really important. Um, on the other aspects, I would say find a sponsor within your current organization. Really important. Someone who opens doors for you. Everybody needs a sponsor. There is no shame in asking for help. It is all
Correct.
right.
Absolutely.
Network like hell. It's important. But network to collaborate, to share, not for just one way transaction. Network to share. And yeah, if you fail, big deal. Get up next day and soldier on with a smile.
Absolutely, totally, Manisha, that's very, very beautifully put. I totally agree to all of your points. And picking up from this thread, let me move on to Sammani. So, Sammani, apart from just keeping yourself updated, because I'm sure as a technical architect, you're leading a big team, a diverse team. So, what steps do you usually take so that everyone in your team feels included? I think you are on mute. Can we hear her?
Maybe I'm.
Yeah. Someone, you are on mute. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sure. Yes.
Okay. There was a issue with the microphone. Okay. So I think Priyanka, that was a very good topic. I think it's a very hot topic as well in the industry these days, is diversity and inclusion and how we can balance the diversity in the industry, especially in IT that we see. I will talk a little bit on the gender diversity as well. So we see very less number of females in the industry, and as a, like, not in the organization as well, I do involved in, like, in the industry level, like how we can improve this diversity, the gender diversity in the industry of IT, especially in Sri Lanka at the moment. So one of the root causes we saw is that why females don't come into this industry is that they see this industry don't have a proper work life balance. That was like, the ladies don't come into it thinking that we have to work late, releases all the time, so we have to stay late and work, then they cannot balance the family and the office work. So company wide we had started nice initiatives where we strongly recommend work only during the working hours.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
we practice that. So we encourage females to come in so they can manage their office as well as home, the family commitments very well. And also we have something called initiatives within the company where we when we have the females, especially we see that they are a little reluctant to speak up, they're a little shy when they come in, and to fix that thing, we started something called initiatives where every junior person who joins the company will have a platform there they can execute their ideas. So they will be groomed to leaders very quick. And also, we strongly, very strongly, don't have any politics within the company. So we
Mm-hmm.
know someone will not speak bad about us. So that is a very feminine thing that we have within as females, that we think we will be judged on what we will if we speak up in a meeting or some in a gathering. So not having politics, like, we know that we will be not judged and we will be not be criticized when we are not around. So that open culture is something that we practiced a lot in the company.
Mm-hmm.
We take that as a very serious act if they speak something bad about another person. This applies to both female and male as well. We never speak
Correct.
bad about anyone. So that is something else. And also we always groom people. We help them. We take them to groom on this personal branding stuff so they could improve their confidence level, so they can uh, uh, speak up, they can be good leaders in the future. So we balance this out, and also we try to have a proper balance on the gender in each team. So each team will have a balanced number of every gender as well as different ethnicities as well, because in Sri Lanka we
Mm-hmm.
have different nationalities, different
Correct.
religions, and we don't want anyone to feel left out, to have
Right.
someone to accompany. So we try to keep that balance as well.
All right, all right. Yeah, well said, Sammani. And especially, diversity and inclusion in these exceptional times, unconventional times is all the more important. I mean, it has become a more, I think, important, significant issue because we are all virtually connected now. So, yeah, I think it takes I mean, important place in all our team dynamics, synergies as well. I mean, it's important to get the right synergies, which prompts me to ask Manisha that can you cite any example of some positive impact which D&I, diversity and inclusion, has had in your team?
Certainly. So, in my current organization, we are an enterprise. So we have, let me see, just in my team, we have people from 4 or 5 countries, spread across. And each one of us brings a fresh pair of eyes, fresh
Correct.
element, to the conversation. Uh, Many a times I have experienced, and I don't know, is it because I come from a nerdy background? I'm very focused
Correct.
on a solution, right? But and there are situations when there will be a clash of
Right.
ideas. You implement it this way, that way. So it's very important to be in the other person's shoes and see why they did, or why did they say or react in a particular way. Was it meant to hurt? No, probably it's okay in their culture. That's the way they talk, that's the way they behave. And just because I am new to it, it doesn't mean that it is offensive to me or to
Correct.
anyone. So, doing this kind of medley creates music. We need not be all, of the same type, then it gets boring. Yes, there is a, harmony, but to some extent. And so there were cases when we initially the team was forming and norming, and there was a lot of you know crosstalk going on, and eventually we all realized we are part of the same wave and we are contributing towards the good of the company, of the team. Once that we realized, it was such a beautiful experience. So
All right. All right. Okay, and I have one question here from the people. Okay, so yeah, Susan, you can flash it. Yes, so it's regarding the discussion which we have been having here. So there's a question about how can we bring allyship into plates from Adeline Tan. All right, so whoever is ready to take it up, the panelists, please feel free to answer. So Adeline Tan has asked us, how can we bring allyship into play?
So, Adeline, if I have understood you correctly, you are basically talking of collaboration here, right?
Correct. Yes,
It's not
absolutely. Yes.
you and me across the table, it is us, and where are we heading for? So, typical situations are discussions with clients, salary negotiations, discussions with your boss about the next increment or the position you're going to get or not. So if we enter into the meeting with the feeling of, hey, it's a battle and I have to win, already I'm tensing myself. I'm creating a disassociation from the other person, and it is already a very not a good space to start conversation with. So I would say in any such situation, lean into the fear. What if you don't get? What's the worst that can happen? You will not get, but you will not die. It's okay. Then, once you have felt that expansive feeling, yes, when you've hit the rock bottom, then you say, okay, how can I think from the other person's perspective? And can we together come to a common midpoint? That's a win win for everybody. And you have earned an ally. Girls, tell me. Tell me anything else you can add or correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I agree with you, Manisha. And also adding to that, when we go with collaboration and always have a very direct communication, and go with facts. Like when you
Yep.
want to go for a negotiation, go with facts, and also listen to others' ideas as well. As Manisha mentioned, we have to always listen. Whether they have valid points, we have to always agree. Not we have to always go with the fact that we have to always win. It's not like that. If they come up with a valid point, we have to always agree and always go with the facts, and direct communication would helps a lot.
Yep, I totally agree. It's more of we and less of me. So it's always like, I've got your back, that kind of a thing. Absolutely. Yes, yes. And a very, very, very final question to all of you. So we do all these community things and work things, and we walk a very tightrope between motherhood and, working women in technology. So amidst all of these things, how do we find that fine balance, the nuance, the work life balance? So Yathao, any observations on that front?
Um, to maintain a balanced life, like to keep my health better, I usually do workout every day, and then I
Oh,
go to work, and I spend my evening to research about technology, but not every day because if every day I must not girl anymore. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
all right. And others, Manisha, Sammani, do you second thought on that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
And
definitely. Yeah, Sanmani, you go ahead.
yeah, so for my end, I think it's all about prioritization your work. You will have a lot to manage, especially when you become married and you have kids, so much of commitments. So you have to prioritize what is important, and you have to have a proper plan date every day, like plan the day and try to accomplish much as possible within that plan within the day. So that is something I strongly practice. I have a lot of sticky notes on my desk where I put sticky notes, and I try to put it off end of the day as much as possible. So to complete everything and have some time to relax, as Manisha said, that is quite important. Have a proper balance in the life and some time for yourself. Spend some time on yourself, reading, relaxing, and stuff, so you can like and enjoy what you do. As you, if
Yeah,
you don't
it's
have
true.
the enjoyment and passion inside you, so you do not have the self drive within you. So do something you like, and the self drive will come naturally.
True, true. That's right. Absolutely.
Yeah, very well said. Very well said, Samani. In fact, you're resounding what happened with me. Do we have time, Priyanka? Depending on that, I'll open my mouth.
Yes,
Yeah.
we
Okay.
have absolutely.
So yesterday, I was in this really important meeting, yeah, with the stakeholders where I was trying to sell Azure to our internal clients. We have recently performed a huge migration, and it's important that we gain the confidence of these people because they are the decision makers. So much work and so much effort has gone into this, and just it was last day for school for my kid who's in primary. She was celebrating, she slipped and she twisted her foot.
Mhm.
And now there is this situation when I have to be professional and I have to, be calm and continue and, and then there is the mother part of me that is pulling my heartstrings. So I said, excuse me, my kid needs me. I, asked for help from my family, finished the meeting on a positive note, and then rushed to the A&E. Spent some hours there. Thank God it was nothing serious. Kid is okay now. So you have to have that capability to juggle and say, you know what, okay, this takes priority. Fine. And people are generally good by nature. They will not
Yeah.
hold you in mistake for it. If you have this faith, that they are good, worst come worst, okay, they'll call she's sloppy. Okay, wait. Keep your head held high, prioritize, and continue. Simple.
Oh, that's nice. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I mean that innate goodness is something which we need to trust within ourselves, within
Yes.
others, and yeah, as I said, help each other attain the best inside you, and that
Yes,
will bring the best inside others as well.
exactly.
So yeah, absolutely. So thank you, ladies. Thank you for sharing your insights on this forum with us, and it has been lovely having you. And continue your spirit, your zest, your bit for the technology, and you go, girls. Fist bump.
Bye bye. Great
Bye
event.
bye, bye bye,
Bye.
bye.
Thank you.
Bye
Thank you
And to
for having
all
bye.
us.
our viewers, you can always connect to our panelists on their respective Twitter handles if you have any, more questions to them. So it's lovely having you, ladies, and do take care.
Bye.
Bye
Thanks,
bye.
everyone.
Bye.
I love the insights. I guess one thing that I love the most is love yourself, everyone. And of course, find the support buddy or community that will welcomes you. And also, you can visit us in Microsoft Humans of IT community. Oh, let me share that link. Okay, so I'm sharing that. So that community helps you talk about mental health, vulnerability, and then finding your mentors and stuff like that. So let me know if you have any stories to share. Just let me know. Fun fact about me: I'm also part of the Humans of ID ambassador. So, okay, thank you so much, everyone, for your time. And let's see if I need. Do I have any things to share? So to learn more about .NET, so you can visit the Microsoft Learn or the Learn TV of Microsoft. And that's all for today. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming, and I hope you have a wonderful day today. Thanks, everyone. Bye.